Hello, what's up guys, welcome to my YouTube video. In this video we're gonna be creating a game called Guess the Name. Okay, so this game is similar to something you might know, like hangman, where you guess a letter and then if you miss it you risk your player. Okay, so the idea behind this is kind of similar to the idea behind hangman. So if you know how to create this game, then you can create hangman. It's just a matter of adding some characters or something like that. So once you can do this, you can do hangman. Okay, so now we're gonna, before we go into the game, I'm gonna show you how it works. We're gonna try H. Okay, we have H. Oh, I think I know what it is already. And oh, okay, cool. So good job, you guessed 4 times. So this is the game we're gonna be creating. By the way, if you're new, I'm Tekemi. My name is Hima. Make sure you give my YouTube video a thumbs up and subscribe, as to encourage me to drop more YouTube content for you guys. And let's get into the video. Okay, so now I've cleared the code. Okay, so while I'm teaching you how to create these Python games, I'm not just gonna teach you how to create, but I'm gonna teach you it's a problem solving technique. Now whenever you want to solve problems, you want to divide it into smaller problems. You must have edits if you read a lot, or if you're reading for the first time, good, that's good for you. Okay, so you want to divide it into small problems. So the first thing you want to do is you want to have a list of words, a list that holds all your words. Okay, now we're gonna create a variable for that, and then we're gonna have a list. So but now looking at it, it might be stressful. It will be stressful having to type a lot of words here, because to make the game interesting, you must have different words, a lot of it. So one trick you can do is, instead of having different items in the list, we're gonna make use of a string. Now let's watch this. Okay, so we're gonna do hello. We're just gonna put random words there and dope. Okay, cool. Now we're gonna convert this string to a list, and the way we're gonna do that is we're gonna use dot split. Okay, cool. So this dot split is gonna make this words here each a single item in a list. Every word except from the space here is gonna make it each item in a list. So if I run this, oh, of course not, I'm gonna copy this and paste it here. So if I do that, you see now we have a new list. So that's the trick. So instead of typing each items in a list yourself, you can just go to Wikipedia, copy a whole paragraph, remove all the full stops, the periods in it, and then just split it. Just apply the split on it, and boom, you're good to go. Okay, now of course we're gonna be making use of uppercase. As you can see, we're making use of uppercase all through, so it looks a little bit nicer. Okay, so the way we're gonna do is, first of all, you're gonna call the upper on your string. So don't be confused, this is possible in Python. As you can see, we have the hopper and the split. So what happens is we have our string here. Of course, you can't call the hopper after the split, so I'm going to explain that shortly to you. So first thing you do is you have your string here, and then when you call the hopper, this is what happens. We're going to copy this and then we're going to paste this. So as you can see, Python replaces this here, the whole of this, with this hello there, capital letter, and then we apply the dot split on it. Okay, so it applies the dot split on the capital letters. But if you apply the dot split first, Python is gonna split this to a list. Okay, let me show you what I mean. Hello, yeah. If you apply the split first, Python is gonna split it to a list, and then inside this list, you cannot, of course, you cannot make the list the upper. If you try it, let's assign this to a variable. I'm gonna say a, and then we have a list, and if you do a the upper, you get an error, of course, because that's not an attribute of a string. Okay, cool. So now I hope if you don't understand this well, just comment down below your question and I'll make sure I answer it. Okay, so we're gonna save that. And the next thing, since we have our list of words and you have we have an idea on how to create it, the next thing we're gonna do is want to create a way of updating the state, showing the users what's going on. Example, we're gonna show the users this is it. Basically, this is the state, the amount of letters they've guessed, the ones that are left, and at the beginning of the game just dashes, of course. So now let's create that. So that's the next step. Okay, from there we'll move on to others. Now we're gonna create a variable called use letters. So what this use letters is gonna do is gonna hold each letter. As you can see, we have use letters here. It's gonna hold each letters each letter a user guesses. So if a user guesses H, it adds this to this list. If it guesses E, it adds this to this list, and so on. Okay, so let's just add that there. So we make use of that later, and now let's the function. We find our function. We'll call it display. Okay, so we're gonna call this display. It's gonna take in a word. Okay, cool. So this is showing this. Don't worry if you're not getting this. You shouldn't get it, by the way. And the reason why I'm getting it is because I coded the previous code was in this file. So that's how this works. It just shows me. It's just the intelligence anyway. So it's thinking I'm trying to put the same thing, which of course I'm doing. Okay, so we're gonna have that there. Wow, what's going on? Okay, so we're gonna have this there. This function is gonna be doing this basically. It's gonna be giving us this. Okay, so we can do this normally in our code, but I'm gonna be doing this in a function so we can make use of it over and over again. That's one of the uses of a function. So we can reuse code. It's for reusability of code. You can make use of that, which makes Python a really strong language. Of course, most languages have this, so it's not really special. But we don't want to repeat our code over and over again, so that's why we have the function basically. Now we're gonna create a variable called results. So I'm gonna assign it to an empty string. Okay, that's pretty clear enough. And then we're gonna loop through for I in word. Okay, so this is where the work starts for you as a beginner. So the first thing what we are doing here is, instead of looking for I in range 100 or something like that, in range 10 or any other thing, or for we are looping through a list. No, what we are doing here is, you notice we are looping through a string, which is strange. So let me show you what happens if we loop through a strings for I in I. So what happens is Python loops through each of the characters. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do here. As you can see, we have H and I. So of course you can't try this in your Python code. This is the shell, so you have to put print here. Okay, so anyway, that's not the point. I just want you to know that. Yeah, so what we want to do here is we want to check if this I, so we're checking each letter, each character in the word. So let's assume we are at dope. So we want to check, we're going to start from D. So if D is in the guess letters, so this is just a parameter, but when we're passing, we're going to be passing use letters. That's why we have the variable there. So this is going to check if D is inside use letters, which we're going to do here. If I in use letters, what we're going to do is we're going to do result equals to results, the results plus the I, and then we're going to add space. Okay, now let me show what's happening here. So if I in guess letters, if you have D, if you have as guess D, now we want to put D here. We want to put just like we have H here. We're gonna add that. Else, if the user hasn't guessed the word, we're gonna do results equals to results plus underscore. Now you see how we got the underscore plus space. The reason why we have this result plus result here is because when at first, let's assume we have D in our guess letters. Oh, sorry, this is supposed to be guess letters, not use letters. Of course, I'm not calling it. It's gonna work anyway, but we have this as a parameter, so that's what we're gonna be using. Okay. Now, don't worry about that. That should not confuse you. Just know that we are working with the parameter. This is a list of the guessed letters, which will be this one eventually in our code, but this is a parameter, so don't get confused with that. Now, so the reason why we are doing this is because when we get to D, let's assume we have D in our guessed letters. If we have it there, then that, which means we're going to be adding D to this string. So we're going to do this result, this plus D plus, and then we're going to have space. That's why we have space after this dashes here and this letter. Okay, so when we have that space, next thing we're going to do, if we get to O, if O, we're going to check if O is in guessed letters. If O is not there, then we're going to add the D and the space, which is this result, and then we're gonna add an underscore in front with space. Basically, that's it. Simple. Now, so we're gonna, after that, we're gonna return result. Okay, so if you can't wrap your head around this, don't worry, you can do this. It's normal. If you think, oh, you're not going to be a programmer, if you can't do the beginner project, don't worry, you just get used to it. The more you code, the more you get a heck of it. Okay, so don't worry, you're good to go. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna print display, or rather still, let's just print it here. Of course, print results, and then we're gonna do display. So we want to test the function now to make sure it works well. So we're gonna give it dope, and we're gonna give it O, and then we're gonna give it E. So if I run it, as you can see now we have underscore OPE. Okay, so what happens is Python checks for D, which is, since we are looking through each character in the word, not in the list. Okay, so when Python checks for D, D is not there, it's not in the guest letter, so it has an underscore. That's why we have the underscore here. And then Python goes to O is in the list, then it adds the result, this, which is the underscore plus the O, which is why we have this, and so on and so forth. So you should understand that. Okay, and if you understand it, if you have any question, make sure you ask in the comment down below so I can attend to your questions. Okay, and by the way, if you are new to my video, I'm not sure if I've said this, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe. It's gonna encourage me to keep creating more YouTube content. Okay guys, this game is gonna continue with a part 2, which I'll be releasing next tomorrow, so don't forget to check it. Peace out.